film acting and theater, they're similar and yet different. How are they similar? Because real is real. The Meisner technique, for example, my teacher, Sanford Meisner, it's all about not acting. It's all about being present and real. Some of the most important qualities that come out of being present with a camera in your face, listening, reacting. When big news happens in film, it's not on the deliverer of the news, it's on the receiver of it. The audience, we want to see the reaction to that news that we know is coming. So those qualities are critical, but again, they're also critical in theater in terms of being present, truthful, reacting truthfully. Now, technically, there's huge differences. The difference between acting and performing in a small box, and I have a stage so wide and long it's not even funny, and I've got to use that whole stage to keep the whole audience engaged throughout the night. And then you go play in a smaller house, an intimate house, and it changes that volume, energy, etc. It must, otherwise it's going to seem weird. Here's the best analogy. Film acting is like being in like you're going to record an album in a sound studio. And live theater is like a live performance, like a live concert for the singer, musician. Because at that concert, anything can happen, and it probably will. And you don't have as much control. Doing live theater is like walking a tightrope 50 feet up, no net. Doing film or working in front of a camera is like that tightrope is taped to the floor. Now what's that mean? It means in theater, you walk on stage, these shows, again, this is me up there for 2 hours by myself. In film, holy shit, they cut around bad performance all the time. They take your best take, and if you suck on all 5 takes and they can't get what they want, they cut around that and make you look better than you did. So there's so many ways to manipulate a performance in film acting, and they take the highlight reel. They take the best of the best of the best of your work, and on top of that, they stretch out moments. They add music. If there's a moment where some bad news just happened, right? And they'll manipulate you intentionally. They'll have a look on my face. They'll cut to, you know, your kids who's missing. You know, that's the news. Your kid's been abducted. They'll cut to your kid's bedroom, or the swing set, or the bicycle out front, or the car seat. It's called stretching the moment. All great directors know this of film. They're manipulating the audience, and that's what the editor's doing too. Put this, have it go longer, shorter, put the music and the sound effect, all of this. I always said, you know, could you have a movie house if you had all your senses involved, right? So all of these things are done as much as they can with film to manipulate you. Of course, the other big thing with film, probably two things that I need to talk about film acting that's really deal with. Right? One is having a camera in your face. It's not directly in your face like this camera is right now, but you've got another actor there, you've got a DP, director of photography, you got the director, maybe they're over in what we call the village, or there's going to be people in your eye line typically, sound people, extras, people like that. And so you have to deal with that, with having a camera in your face. Want to know the best advice ever about dealing with that? Here you go. This is worth every video of mine that you've watched at this point if you want to be a film actor. Actors are taught to try to ignore the camera, you know, just forget the camera. That's the worst thing you can do. The more you push it away, the more it's going. So what you do instead is just the opposite. You make peace with that camera. You make love to that camera. Know what every supermodel already knows. They're looking right in that lens and seducing it. And they know how to work that camera. Now, you're not looking into the lens, but the theory is the same, which is you want that camera there. Of course you do. You're making a movie. That camera needs to be there. That actor needs to be there. That boom mic needs to be there. Those gaffers and grips need to be there. Everybody's doing their job, including that camera and that camera person. Good. I want you to be there. So you make peace with that camera. Every time I'm on a film set, I look right at that camera before we start shooting. I go, good, good. Glad you're here. Glad this is all here. Here we go. We're all part of this dance. So there you go. And then the other thing that's difficult about film acting that does take time is what we call continuity, right? Shooting out of order. And it happens all the time. Sometimes the very end of the film is going to get shot at the very beginning because guess what? They got the location free. The house at the beach on the cliff that they need for the end of the movie when I die in your arms. You know, that's what the whole movie's about. And we shoot it the first couple days. You and the other actor barely know each other. You haven't had a chance to rehearse, play, get to create a connection whatsoever. So the continuity, shooting out of order. And when you can shoot in order, it's ideal, but it often can't be the case. And sometimes, let's say there's 3 scenes that take place in a hospital room. Or no, let's say in the living room of a house. There's a scene on page 10, on page 40, and on page 88. Each one of them different. One is a very casual scene, the other one's a big fight scene, and the other one's the big final heartbreak scene. Now, ideally, they can shoot those in order, let's say. Maybe, but that's only if the other actors that need to be there that day can be there that day. But let's just say they can. Great. But regardless, you're still missing the 30 pages in between each one of those and all the work and things and relationship and information that comes. So your job is just to be just as simple as almost like a treasure hunter is where are we? Where are we on this journey together? I'm going on this journey as an actor. I go on this arc, this journey. Where am I today? Oh, we're shooting this in here. What's my emotional temperature? What's my feelings towards my dad right here in this scene versus here later on? Look, guys, it takes a little bit of skill set and mapping out and compartmentalizing, but honestly, and especially when you have craft and training, the ability to be able to earn all that, to be able to have written an autobiography and be so clear on breaking down the script and the material that you know what the hell you're doing, it's not overwhelming if you know what you're doing. Theater, which is really my wheelhouse, you know, one of the things I often say to you all is that, you know, I'm your personal private acting coach. My job's to help you. And yet I've had this crazy career where I've done it outside of Hollywood and primarily doing it in theater. I built a beautiful career in Hollywood in a short time. But when I left Hollywood in 1993, right now, this is 2024, so I don't know when you're watching this, in those 35 years since I left that town, whatever the hell the math is, I can't encourage you enough to do live theater. Let me just say that. Even if you just build a beautiful career in film. Why? Because look, guys, every time you audition, that's live theater. Now, these days with self-tapes, that's more like film acting, isn't it? You can do like your 5th take is the good one, you send that in. Great. But for the callback, they like to bring you in because they want to make sure you can really deliver the goods. Sandy used to say that doing theater, it's sacred. That the theater is a sacred place. I couldn't agree more. It's an exchange that happens between audience and cast that you can't replicate. You know how they shoot these, the National Theater, or maybe you saw Hamilton or other shows you've seen where they shoot them? They shoot the live performance. You can't possibly capture what it's like to actually be there in person live. I got to go to a couple Super Bowls over the years, the halftime. There's just something about being there live. Live theater gives you that, and it never goes away. It never stops. It's a very magical exchange that happens, and you just can't get it from film. But then again, the final thing I want to add is the biggest difference. Film is where you're going to make a hell of a lot more money. I've been so blessed to do these shows and make a ridiculous living touring, not just these shows, but my children's shows all over the planet for 25 years. If I'd stayed in Hollywood and had tried to build my career that way, I'm positive I'd have a beautiful career in film and television, and I'm positive I would have a hell of a lot more money, quote unquote. I have no regrets. I love my career, but to make a living doing theater is almost impossible. To do it year after year is pretty much damn impossible. And get that sucker ready in a short amount of time and put it up and invite people and have that experience. It's a beautiful thing. We have our studio here, my studio. We make this space available to our alumni, free of charge. They can do performances. It's invaluable, it's priceless, but it ain't gonna pay you like film. So there's that. Those are the biggest differences between the two. And of course, I talk a lot about how to get in film, in television, on Netflix, how to go about this. There's all kinds of videos. Click on them, subscribe, you know what to do. Go do it, okay? And I'll see you soon. All right.